So it turns out that David Blue Garcia is a massive Halloween fan, a huge Halloween Kills fan, because that's pretty much what this movie tries to be. What's up, everybody? My name is Kevin Hall, and I'm back with another review for you. This time we're talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Netflix movie that has pretty much split the popular opinion. Twitter has been going mental. Some people love it, some people don't, but it's doing well on Netflix, so that's something, I guess. That's right, this is Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of nerdly.co.uk. Your favourite British home for all of your news, reviews and exclusive interviews. We like to cover everything from the big budget to the low budget to the no budget, with a special keen interest on the lower end of the scale. But that's not what we're doing today. Today we are talking about a Netflix movie. A Netflix movie I've actually been really looking forward to, mostly because Mo Dunford's in it. If you've seen this channel, you will know that I love the guy. I think he's awesome. I think Knuckle Dust is a fantastic movie. I don't think I can talk about that movie enough, to be honest. When I heard he was in the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, damn right I'm going to be watching it. I will absolutely give that a chance. First of all, do all of those wonderful, amazing things and hit that like, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. All of that good stuff helps us climb the algorithm, helps people see us, helps people hear us, helps people know that we are out there. And essentially, that's how people find you, because they know you're out there. That's what it says on the tin, really. But yeah, so like when you came into 2022, were you looking forward to a new Texas Chainsaw? How low or how high were your expectations for this? I will preface this whole thing by admitting to you all, unlike Scream, that I am a massive, massive diehard fan of, I'm not that big a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Neither the first movie nor the entire franchise. I like them, I've seen them, I've not seen them a whole great bunch of times. I've probably seen that first movie twice. I think the first movie's kind of super overrated. I hope that's not too controversial to say. I do think it's kind of overrated. I kind of believe that the 2003 version was actually an improvement. I like that one. Nice and gritty, nice and sweaty, nice and dark. Some really cool kills. But as a whole, the franchise has never really lit a fire under me. So I wasn't that invested in going in to see this movie. And of course, you mix in the whole fact that apparently this whole movie just leaked online, like the script leaked online, and everybody knew what was going to happen in it, and they thought it sounded bad. And then Lionsgate must have had some problems with the director, so they brought in a new director. I think it was the director from Leatherface, which didn't get much love. But you know, none of that matters. None of that really, really matters. All that matters is the movie. Is the movie good? Does it work? Is the script good? Is the plot good? Is it a good film? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Forget all that political nonsense on the social medias. Let's just talk about the movie, and we'll get into it now.
And now, our feature presentation.
So once again, I will stick to my general normal routine, and that is to talk about the plot, talk about the cast and the characters, hit on some of the things that I liked and I didn't like, and then move on to my final rating for this movie. And that is a Nerdly Out Loud rating, but it's not a nerdly.co.uk rating. Please do check out the website, check out all the awesome reviews over there, check out the videos in the playlist, and let's talk about this movie. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't really stray too far from any other reboot, sequel, or anything like that. It basically tries to rinse and repeat the first movie while paying homage to it and being its own thing, setting up a new generation. Did you ever see Texas Chainsaw New Generation? That was a movie. But you know what? Matthew McConaughey was loving it. He was really cool in it. I was kind of hoping Mo Dunford was going to be doing some of that Matthew McConaughey-ness in this movie, when Matthew McConaughey was doing his best Nicolas Cage impression. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. So the movie centered around a group of millennials. A group of millennials and social media influencers have decided to buy up a small backwater town in Texas, rural Texas. They've decided to buy this town, and they're going to sell off portions of this town to other influencers who are all like in their 20s, but for some reason want to live in a backwater town in the middle of Texas instead of partying and being social media influencers. Doesn't really make a great deal of sense to me, but I'm going to go with it because you know what? Millennial social media influencers being chainsawed to death, it actually sounds like a pretty good idea to me. So when they get there, there is a Confederate flag hanging outside of somebody's house, and oh boy howdy, how dare these backwater Texans have that flag up there. I guess that's just something you have to put up with nowadays. No, it's not, because we can take it down because we own the town. So they go into this person's house to get the flag. It's not really a person's house though, it's the house that they now own because they have the deeds. Or do they? This old lady turns up, and it turns out this is the old lady who has ran the orphanage for the last however 100 years, and she has one last person living with her, and who do you think that might be? Yes, it's Leatherface. Awesome. So they accidentally kind of cause her to die. They don't outright kill her, which is a point of contention for me in this movie, because they kind of make out like they did kill her. I guess the situation killed her, but it kind of seemed like she was on her last legs anyway, considering she had an oxygen tank. But they get the blame for it. Leatherface blames them, and then he goes on a killing spree, and he's going to kill all these people who are quite possibly some of the worst people you will ever meet in your life. I said it. So let's talk about the cast and characters. Cast and characters, of course, you have Leatherface, this time played by Mark Burnham. And Mark Burnham, I will say, he does embody a lot of the Leatherface, like as if he's taken bits and pieces from previous Leatherfaces, you know, the original Gunnar Hansen Leatherface, and he's taken those little bits and pieces and he sort of made his own new character. But the problem for me was this movie set 50 years after the first movie. I would have said Leatherface was maybe in his 20s or 30s, late 20s, early 30s in that movie, making him at least 70 in this movie. But he moves around like a spry young 20-year-old. You have got Sarah Yarkin as Melody and Elise Fisher as Lila. So these two are sisters in the movie. One of them is one of the people that's come together to buy the town up. The other one has survived a high school shooting, and it's traumatized her. Now, I'm not going to make light of that situation whatsoever. That is a terrible situation to have been in, and it's something that happens all too often, especially in America. Yes, we have it over here, but it does happen in America an awful lot. And I don't mind that being a character's backstory in your movie. But if you're going to use a hand grenade like that, a political hand grenade like that, to make a statement about gun control, because this movie set in Texas wants to do nothing but talk about guns. You know, this Chainsaw Massacre movie is talking about guns left, right, and center. If you're going to use that as a political hand grenade to throw in your plot, you better actually use it, and you better do something with it, and you better be careful with it. And this movie just kind of forgets. It just kind of forgets. It brings it up once, twice, 3 times a lady. You get one little flashback to it, but it kind of just builds up all the way to the point where she's so against guns because of what happened to her, but she has to use a gun because guns are fantastic in horror movies. You kind of need them. What are you trying to say? What are you actually trying to say with this? Like, I didn't get it. However, I'm sorry, I totally went on a little rant there. I didn't mean that. I really, really liked this sister relationship. The chemistry was good. It worked. I actually liked the characters a lot more than I liked some of the other characters, and they worked for me. So that is a plus, because when you've got me invested in who are essentially going to be the 2 final girls, or the final girl, or hopefully they're going to get through the movie alive. Spoilers, they might not. But if you're going to root for these characters, I'm glad you had 2 reasonably likable characters. Melody, not so much, but definitely Lila. So I'm going to talk about Mo Dunford, because he is my guy. He is a highlight of this movie, absolutely. The character Richter does seem to be one of the most intriguing characters, because you kind of led down this road, or at least I was mentally in my head, because I was trying to make stuff up. Like, is he going to be part of Leatherface's family? Is he just an independent contractor who's going to be an innocent bystander? Who is Richter? And I loved Mo Dunford's portrayal of this character. You really got the sense of, yeah, he's probably a bit of an asshole, but he's quite a good asshole, and he's going to do the right thing, hopefully. Hopefully we'll get a really nice Mo Dunford. I thought Richter was a cool character. I do feel like I've read in places that this movie got chopped to pieces when it got taken on by Netflix. Like, some things went missing, some things got added, and that's fine. That happens all the time with movies. It's to be expected. But I feel like we maybe lost some Richter stuff, like especially the whole relationship with one of the sisters. It kind of felt like there was something else there. Didn't mind that we lost some of that. It really didn't matter, because it made this movie a nice, cool 83 minutes, which has got 9 minutes of credits, which is mental. Who puts 9 minutes of credits in a movie? For me, he was one of the more interesting ones. Like, I wanted to know a little bit more, but that's mostly because outside of our main group, he was the only other real normal person in the movie. Remember the final girl from that original movie? You know, remember she was in the back of the van, she's got all the blood all over her. Leatherface is doing the dance, and she's like, remember that girl? Yeah, she is back. Sally Hardesty is back. It's not the original Sally Hardesty, because sadly she passed away, I think it was like 2014. She passed away a few years back. So we have Alwyn, and I'm going to butcher this one. That name is far too hard for me to say. And this is what I mean by David Blue Garcia and the writers of this movie. I can't give them all the credit, but this is what I mean by the fact that they love Halloween Kills. Because essentially, she is literally Jamie Lee Curtis. She is Laurie Strode. She's been waiting 50 years for Leatherface to show his face, and then she can go and kill him. That's literally her whole plotline in this movie. Now, you would think that if she's been waiting 50 years, she would have Laurie Strode the crap out of that 50 years, and she would have learned how to use all these weapons, how to make all these booby traps, how to be an absolute badass. She comes face to face with Leatherface and doesn't even shoot him. In fact, she lets him walk away. But that's by the by. They have a movie to make, and they made their movie. Nice little role for Alice Cridge. Always nice to see Alice Cridge being in movies. If you don't know her, look her up. Star Trek First Contact. We love Alice Cridge. So what I did and what I didn't like. One of the things that I really, really like about this film is the overall vibe. It's definitely got that 2003 Texas Chainsaw vibe, but it also has a little bit of that 1974 Texas Chainsaw vibe. And that's great. Like, if you can mix the two of them and not destroy either of them, you've done a good job. But at one point, it starts pissing down with rain in the movie, which is such a strange thing to see in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Didn't mind it. It does help the aesthetic a little bit. But I just thought the general vibe of this movie, the way it looked, the aesthetic feel of it, is good. There's some really unconventional camera movements that I quite enjoyed, but it does lead to sort of, where are we in this situation? Like, where am I right now? I'm not entirely sure. I love the deaths in this movie. They up the ante to the max. It's gore-filled and it's gore-rific. One of the best things about that original movie is that there isn't really any gore. When you really think about it and look back, it's all in your head. It's that Hitcher situation where Jennifer Jason Leigh gets pulled apart by the two trucks. She didn't actually, but in your head, you saw that happen. And that's what the original Chainsaw Massacre did. It sort of alluded. There was a little bit of gore, but it alluded to the gore, and it alluded to the monstrosity that was. But this movie just turns around and goes, you know what? We're going to do this, and we're going to do this my way. I want blood everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Up the windows. I mean, that scene in the bus that you've seen in the trailer, it's totally stupid, crazy, madcap, but it's wonderful. Just seeing all those snowflake millennials getting hacked to pieces by a chainsaw, it brought a tear to my eye. It made me truly happy. oh, people are going to cancel this. They're going to... I didn't really get some of the motivation on the character. It is literally a revenge tale, but I just sort of had to wonder, like, I'll be completely honest with you, at one point I thought he was going to talk, and I just thought, don't you dare do this, and luckily we didn't get that. But I don't know, it's just a strange sort of, do they want me to feel empathy for Leatherface in this movie? Because essentially, they have, quote-unquote, killed his mum, so am I supposed to feel bad for Leatherface? Or are they just is that why they're giving me these horrendous characters to not root for? Because I'm supposed to root for Leatherface? I don't know. I was confused all the way through the movie. I was super confused. To be completely honest, I'm being a little bit back and forth on this movie because resting where I want to rest and figuring out how I feel about the film it's a hard one for me because I sit firmly in the middle on this. In fact, let's just say it. My rating is a 2.5, possibly a 3. You know what? I'll go for a 3 because it is pretty nuts. It is fun. It's complete and utter head cheese. They just kill people left, right, and center, and that's all you really need from a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. The thing for me was the Sally Hardesty story. I didn't need it. I don't think it needed to be there. I think they could have quite easily just rebooted this whole thing without that. But Halloween did it, and it did okay. Scream's doing it, and it's doing okay. So I guess you've got to do it. It just adds an element of, like, who am I rooting for here? Because I certainly wasn't rooting for her. Dude, you survived. You got out of that situation. You lived. You were the only one that lived. Why would you then wait 50 years for this guy? No, piss off. Go to London. Move to Greece. Move to Spain. Homeboy ain't gonna follow you there. Why would you wait around for him? It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, for me, this movie's definitely a 3 out of 5. I kind of wanted to like it a little bit more. Mo Dunford does get a lot of points for me on this one. Like, I liked his character. I just would have loved to have seen more of it. I do feel like there was more there. It just didn't make it to the final cut. And when you talk about that, the final cut, it's only 84 minutes long, and it's got 9 minutes worth of credits. So yeah, the movie gets in, gets out, gets it done. But yeah, it's a 3 out of 5, and that's purely because my love of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise isn't like many others. I kind of just like the franchise. I think they're good movies. I watch them. I think they're okay. Matthew McConaughey is fan-bloody-tastic in the one he's in. But the rest of them, apart from like the 2003 and its sequel or prequel, I'm not that fussed with the franchise. But it's good. And this one, for going on to Netflix and getting to watch it for free, fair dues. I'll take it all the live long day. Do I want to see another one? I'm not that fussed. We'll probably reboot it another couple of years down the line. Depends how much this money makes or how well it does on the Netflix. But the talk on Twitter is interesting. I will say that. 3 out of 5. I'm Kevin Halden. This has been Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews. Please do remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. The notification bell will let you know whenever I drop an episode, whether it's a review, an interview, or anything else that we're going to be dropping. We're dropping loads of stuff on here. Phil is doing his unboxing videos. We love them. And I am going to go because I'm just starting to ramble. And yeah, if you want to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it is on Netflix. It's definitely worth a watch. It's fun. I think if I was a bigger fan of the franchise, I probably would have liked it a little bit more. But I'm not a huge fan. Like I say, the 2003 version is probably my favourite of the bunch. So make of that what you will. I'm heading out.